Ladies and gentlemen, the next topic is about turning data into dollars, driving growth and efficiency through data and analytics. Are you all ready for it? Some of you are still stretching. Well, we do know the importance of data. Someone once told me the importance of data is so much that only when data is made available or if data is protected, only then that can be used, right? And this particular topic is going to tell you a lot more around this subject. Ladies and gentlemen, the key pointers of discussion will roll around data's role in business intelligence, efficiency in operations, analysis of the business value chain. Those of you who are still wondering and looking at the chairs, there's nothing happening. Look at me or look to me. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this session we have our speakers who will join us here today. But before I introduce our speakers, I'm going to take a moment with all of you. I want all of you to do something again, but this time only snap your fingers 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Everybody, people on the left side, those are speakers who are not doing along. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can we all rub our tips? Yeah, just warm them up, warm them up, warm them up. Yeah, some of you can also rub your hands. Yeah, it's a cold AC room. We're just avoiding all of you snoring or probably yawning. Well, I know you guys are waiting for us to begin. While our setup is just getting ready, I'd like to take this moment to introduce our speakers, but I've been also informed to make this announcement. Can you all turn around your name badges? You see your names, and behind your badges, do you see a QR code? Yes, yes, everybody? All that you need to do, if not outside, you could also scan this QR code and fill in the feedback forms. Ensure you collect your Amazon vouchers. With that, I'd like to invite onto the stage our speakers. Speakers are requested to sit in front where your name display, the pictures are seen on the screen. I'd like to invite Chief Technology Officer, KU India, Mr. Phaneesh Gururaj, to please join us on the stage. And I'm an active user on KU, and I'm very happy to have you here, sir. Lovely, lovely having you with us. I'd like to invite onto the stage co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Auto Capital, Mr. Harsh Saruparia. Everybody a big hand? Maybe Mr. Harsh will smile better if you applaud together. Everybody. Lovely having you with us, sir. Welcome. I'd like to invite onto the stage Katreddi, Kiran Kumar, Vice President, Data Platform Engineering, Meesho, who joined us some time back, joining us again on stage. Is he around? Would like to quickly move on to our next speaker, Mr. Jitesh, Vice President, Data Analytics, Indegene, joining us here today. Lovely having you with us, sir. I'd like to invite Mr. Animesh Bansriyar, Solutions Architecture Manager, Emerging Markets, APJ, Elastic, joining us on stage. Everybody a big hand. Lovely. My pleasure, sir. I'd like to invite onto the stage Mr. Sunil Iyengar, Data Analytics Sales, Google Cloud India, joining us here today. Everybody a big hand. And this session is chaired by Mr. Karthikeyan Krishnamoorthy, Executive Director, Deloitte India, everybody. Please welcome them with a round of applause. I see the tech is a field where you maintain the tough look on your face. Probably it's required. But for a moment, can you applaud together to make them all smile, please? Thank you. Sir, the session is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We have an exciting panel here, and the topic is just hot, turning data into dollars. Thank you. So we will start with Phaneesh, right? And KU is a very interesting platform. I think, all of them are from different platforms, different enterprises, so I will let them introduce a bit about their enterprise. And also, from a Ku perspective, being a microblogging platform, how does he see data, right? And where does he see his business growing and leverage data, right? That is what I want you to talk about. Thanks.
Thanks everyone, and a warm good evening for everyone here. So I look at Ku on the technology side. So for some of the folks who might not be aware of Ku, so Ku is the microblogging platform from our India and to the world. And we are trying to make a difference with the help of our IP in the form of different languages. What we have been able to build at Ku so far is bringing the strong 20,000 eminent people in the India pyramid onto our platform. And we are able to grow in a few other countries as well. And more importantly, from Ku as a product, right? We want to really take on the Western giants Twitter and see how we are able to make a difference. That's our current objective. And in this journey, probably I'll talk about a bit later, or you want me to take it now?
No, that's fine. I mean, you can take it now.
Yeah. So on this particular topic of data, etc., right? So as any social product, right? So there's a lot of data that we generate. So there's a UGC platform, people upload their photos, they put their videos, and there's a lot of content coming in different languages. In a very simplistic way, the amount of data that comes into our platform on a minute, right, is quite large. Now, in this particular data that comes in has to be recommended, personalized. We need to figure out whether this content is good, is it harmful. Content moderation needs to happen. And we need to also extract certain important labels or topics, what we call, out of this content. So if someone is talking about, let's say, India versus Australia cricket match, so we need to figure out, okay, there is a noun called India cricket as a game, people who are playing. And for folks who are interested in these things, we need to do a sharp recommendation who are on the platform with the latest content. And doing all these things in real time, right, needs a good understanding of how you build your data architecture, what kind of tech stack you use, and finally how overall systems you put in place, because the TCO is what we call, the total cost of ownership can become very high. So in terms of the core platform that we build, we use a mixture of different stack, both open source mostly, and also towards certain specific paid products for content moderation. And the way we are driving our current architecture and the way we want to take it forward is, as more users come, as the graph becomes more dense, how can we efficiently control all these things in real time? Because in any social graph, as more people come onto the network, the graph actually doubles in its connections, right? More people get connected, more content gets fanned out. If someone very important or a VIP is actually putting a content and there are 20 million followers for that person, there's a lot of data that we need to push out. So how do you build those architectures and pipeline? So those are some of the things that we are trying to do. And in this journey, it all depends on how you actually use the data, how we save the data, and what kind of data platforms we build. And a lot of the effort of our data engineers and ML and AI teams go about how we create these data sets, how we do feature engineering, and finally measure through A/B experiments. So in summary, for a social platform like Ku, data is extremely critical. Almost all the features, all the experiments, and all the decisions that we take are pretty much data-driven. And because of this, we are able to build and improve a lot of our funnels as well as our product metrics. Yeah.
Thank you, Phaneesh, for that insight from Ku perspective. I will actually juggle around. I will go with Kiran from Meesho. Please introduce what you do and what kind of service you are doing within India. And then obviously you have both the sides, right? The customers, end customers, and also your suppliers, right? So what kind of data do you get in? How do you manage them? What kind of insights do you give both to your customers and to your partners, right? If you can talk about that, that would be good.
Hey, hello everyone. I'm Kiran. I head the platform engineering for Meesho. So as I mentioned before in other panel, so Meesho came into existence to connect tier 3 and 4 sellers to the buyers, right? If you look at this cohort of users as well as sellers, more than 50% of them are first-time internet users. Forget about e-commerce, right? Most of our suppliers never sold online. Most of our buyers never transacted online, right? How do we basically enable these users using data? That is where I think we have unique proposition in the market, to be honest. For example, if you are bringing brands online, it's very easy because they have very big cataloging teams who knows how to basically project their products and put attributes for the products, make it catchy so that people buy. But most of our sellers, as I mentioned, they're first-time e-commerce sellers and they're not tech-savvy in nature. How do you enable them, right? So we have to invest heavily in AI and ML models which can catalog the products automatically. For example, if I had to onboard a new seller coming from a village, making some product, so all we ask him to is like take pictures of the product and upload. We will take care of the rest of it in terms of identifying color, texture, all other attributes, whatever we can, and his catalog is live within few minutes, right? With proper quality checks. This is one part of the story. Another thing is, given we are focusing more on price-focused tier 3, tier 4 customers, their vernacular plays a big role. For example, most of them don't know English, right? How do you enable them with voice search, image search? How do you enable them to transact with your app in local languages till you understand? For example, someone searching for curtains on our app, they may not be saying curtains, they will say parda. How do you understand it and understand the language in which they are conversing, translate it in equivalent English and find the result set and bring it back, right? That is where we invest a lot in terms of understanding the user intent and giving them the right search results, right? Third area is like most of our users, most of our suppliers, for example, have a lot of products, but they sell only few products online. For example, if a user comes and searches for the product, if the product is not available on Meesho, immediately we try to match that product to one of the suppliers who could have easily cataloged it and put it out there. And we give that recommendations to the suppliers again, right? And another side of the story is the actual end users who are transacting with the app, right? There, we basically try to optimize user experience on the app using data. For example, we do a lot of real-time personalization. What it means is, traditionally recommendation engines tend to show you based on your past history, okay, Kiran likes black t-shirts. When he comes online, let me throw some black t-shirts at him so he'll buy, right? But what we do is, like, for example, today Kiran came online and he's looking at white t-shirts for whatever reason. How do I quickly identify that, go back and show him the result set, which normally I show to the cohort of users who like white t-shirts, right? All this has to happen within few milliseconds. So their data plays a pivotal role. And another major thing which happened with data platform in our case is when we moved from B2B to B2C, within 4 months, I think our data went up by 300x. Okay, because now we don't know what to do and a lot of systems started breaking, and then again we had to rebuild our data platform last 18 months, at least twice, just because of the nature in which our data was growing. And a lot of places we had to build a lot of tech for ourselves because a lot of third-party SaaS providers are not able to scale to our kind of scale. When it comes to petabytes of scale, a lot of them fail, right? So now we have a data platform which is a mixture of open source, which is a mixture of SaaS and some of the in-house built engines or platforms, whatever you call, right? Another major piece, for example, we deal with a lot of villages, tier 3, tier 4, where even the logistics partners don't have presence. We deliver to a lot of pin codes where others don't deliver. So how do we enable logistics partners with the data? For example, how do you basically help them with the right addresses. A lot of places, our users don't even, sometimes they can't give out the addresses properly. So how do we enable them to identify the address automatically when they are basically in the app at the checkout funnel, right? So all these things we basically try to do using data. And we do run a lot of attribution models to identify the funnels, conversions, everything based on that. A lot of data science models, analytics models, AI models completely depend on data, and it covers all three aspects like delivery partners, suppliers, as well as our end users.
Thank you so much. And if you are just wondering, it's all about data, where is cloud? I think all of them have stored their data in cloud, right? That's how they are operating. That's the connection. We will switch gears. I think I'm going to go with Animesh on Elastic, right? So I know you guys are dealing with a lot of data. I have worked quite a bit on Elastic platform. So how do you see data? How do you optimize the utilization of data, and how do you get those insights, right? How do you help your customers?
So I think this is one of the major problems that is there right now. We talk about cloud, right? So in the last 2 years, we have all seen how public cloud adoption has grown. I think I've worked with hundreds of customers while at Elastic, and the way they use Elastic, some of the names here are also using Elastic. I wouldn't name them. But I think if you're looking at a search problem, right? So we are looking at having to identify the most relevant information in milliseconds, right? As we mentioned, right? So that was one, and that's one part of the problem. And also the second part of the problem, say for digital natives, is how do you observe data coming in from systems or the telemetry that is being generated by systems which gets scaled up and down in, say, a fraction of minutes or what have you. The same problem, when we talk to a large enterprise or a bank, they have a different problem. They have to find out, say, their customers' data. How do you make it accessible to customer support? So these are the problems that we deal with on a daily basis. I think, for example, Google Cloud has a massive data portfolio, right? So I think it's not just one data tool which does the job for everyone. I think it's a mixture of tools that need to be used to be able to gather the right actionable intelligence, if I may. Having said that, I think whether it's telemetry data, whether it is B2C facing data, for example, how does a consumer operate or interface with a system like say Meesho or even Ku. So those things are there. At the same time, the security is one aspect. With advent of multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, I think security data has also gone through the roof. How we make sense out of the data is also very, very important. And again, being able to take action after we collect the data, analyze, and also at a speed of thought pretty much, right?
Okay, thank you so much. Talking about data, I will go to you, Sunil, now on the, so he's part of Google on gaming side, right? So when we were having a chat outside, he was talking about the maximum amount of data in terabytes, petabytes, whatever, right? That is part of the gaming platform. So why don't you talk about your experience and what you see and how data can help?
Perfect, thank you so much. So my name is Sunil, and I manage the data and AI specialty sales for media and gaming verticals. Now, when you look at data from a gaming side, there are different sources of data. You have the ads data, you have the play data, you have the in-app data. When you integrate all of this, and when you are able to make sense out of it, that's when the real magic happens. I'll take you through an example, right? I mean, I was talking to a cricket gaming company, the CEO of a cricket gaming company. I mean, he was not believing that his customers are leaving his game just after day one of playing. Now, when we went about digging, we were able to pull out 300 attributes for that particular game. And the fascinating thing, I mean, we all know we are a cricket-obsessed nation. And when it comes to playing cricket on your mobile, we are batting obsessed. So if a particular player does not win the toss and does not get batting, he deletes the game. Okay, so when we went about finding each of these parameters, if he does not hit 2 or 3 4s or 6s in an over, he will delete the game. So there are a lot of parameters which we could pull out when we were able to integrate this different data source and understand the customer. So what we went about talking to that particular customer was how he can, for any new player who comes on the game, how he can dump the AI. You know, for the first 2 games, just dump the AI, let him win. And once he gets to that aspect, and then you challenge him a bit more, you know, make him lose 1 or 2 games, and you know, he'll still stay with the platform. So what I'm trying to drive here is, with data, we could make actionable insights, and you could take actions on those insights. That was pretty much, you know, the critical aspect as to how data could help this particular customer.
Sounds good, thank you.
Sorry to interrupt. I think just on Sunil's note, I think I remembered when I was a child, so we used to play cricket, right? And we would go in, and as soon as I would lose or I got out, I would take my bat and everything, I'm going home, you know?
I mean,
So
I'm pretty sure you can ask in the room, if they don't get batting, what would they do? They would not play the game. That obsessed we are with cricket and with batting.
Okay, thank you. Jitesh, we'll go to you now. Again, you know, you can see that there are enterprises centered in India and also from the US. So why don't you share your experience, of course, talk about your company and then share your experience on how we were handling data and use AI ML to leverage.
Sure, thank you, and good evening, everyone. Well, we talked about cricket. We talked about some other very good examples here, and how data actually plays a critical role in making business insights and actions depend on it. I come from a healthcare industry, and a lot of actions depend on data, but those actions and those business decisions are really very, very critical. It's about life decisions that we make in healthcare using data. Indegene is a tech services company with exclusive focus on healthcare. We work with customers who are at different maturity, right from a very promising startup to very large pharma. We work with almost about 20 top pharma companies in the world, helping them right from discovery to development to commercialization and after. And there are a lot of very interesting healthcare business use cases where we use data. You can imagine we work with data across a variety of healthcare problems, right from patient data to clinical data. We have a lot of commercial and marketing data. We are also doing a lot of experimentation with more advanced med tech, med devices data, which is medical Internet of Things, and also omics. And the kind of business cases that we solve using data is pertaining to human lives, right? I mean, how do we improve the quality of human lives with the analysis and the insights that we generate in data, and helping our customers make better decisions. I mean, some examples that I can think of. One is, let's say, when our customers, they want to actually do clinical trials, and they want to actively recruit patients, right from patient identification to patient management, patient experience. I mean, all that insight can be generated on the data and the interaction that the patient has, with the trials process. The other example is we work with a lot of medical content, right? I mean, using the medical content, we are helping our customers in medical legal reviews, understanding how the content can be then transformed more into data and metadata of that content, which can then further be used downstream into more marketing and commercialization processes. We are using data for establishing, on the commercial side, we are using data for understanding how does field sales versus digital sales and combination of field and digital sales, where is that optimal marketing mix, and providing customers with the insights around around the sales channel performance, right, and which channels performs and how they can optimize. Using that experience, using the interactions, through our omni-channel programs, we actually capture responses and aggregate responses of more than 2 million HCPs at any point in time, and understand their behavior and preferences through their interactions on the digital channel. And we pass those interaction data through our ML models to understand what is the best content, which is the best channel, what is the best time of the day, and how can you actually enhance the experience of those HCPs, the healthcare practitioners, in terms of serving them the right content at the right time, and which is completely contextualized to their environment. So, as you could imagine, right, some of these examples are helping our pharma clients not only optimize their cost, but also at the same time enhancing the experience that the HCPs are having or the patients are having when they interact with the pharma brands. Where we are also seeing a lot of impact which can be made is in the area of, especially with the pandemic like COVID. The future is more around remote care, right? So how you're able to aggregate the data from the different digital channels, right, remotely, and use that into doing the right kind of intervention with the use of digital devices and some future technologies like metaverse, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Jitesh. Last but not the least, Harsh from Auto Capital, over to you. I know you cover the entire life cycle of two-wheeler purchase for your customers. So how do you leverage data, in terms of
build a 10x simpler way of owning a two-wheeler for a consumer, which is affordable, flexible, and a very user-friendly option for the user to buy a two-wheeler. So as we have seen with the more and more digital penetration and users looking for instant gratifications, what we have built is that for any user who is looking to buy a two-wheeler, and he's looking for finance, in case of a bank, he would have to pay a certain down payment and then pay a full value of the loan along with the interest in like 2 years, 3 years time, whatever plan he chooses. But many users are not sure whether they will use the vehicle for more than 2 years, 3 years. So what we have built is that at the start of the period, we predict the value of a particular two-wheeler, the value of it would be after 2 years, 3 years, and then we charge user only for the period for which he is using the vehicle. For example, in Activa, which is around 1 lakh rupees, we would charge user only for 40% of the value in first 2 years, and at the end of 2 years, he can decide whether he wants to own the bike by paying the 60,000, or he can just return the bike back to us and we will sell it because we have already promised him, or he can keep paying the EMI and can own the vehicle. So it becomes more flexible and affordable for the consumer. Now, since the business model itself is dependent on the value that we predict of the vehicle, today of the vehicle that he's purchasing. So the data itself is the core of the business model. So we have built models which are trained over more than 100,000 vehicles transacted in the secondary space. And we are able to predict the vehicle value with the accuracy that, okay, in Bangalore, Activa, which is 2 years old, which is 25,000 kilometers run, which is black in color, what would be the value? If it is yellow in color, what would be the value? And that's how we have priced our products for the consumers. Now coming to the point, how do we use data in our different processes? So essentially our customer's journey is divided into 3 pieces. One is the pre-buying journey where he decides which vehicle to buy and he gets an approval for his loan. Second is the underwriting part, which is more our internal, that how do we underwrite the customer, whether we should give him the loan or not. And then third is the whole post-buying journey where he has to maintain his bike, manage his bike, insurance, servicing, etc. And I'll give you one example in each of these places. How do we use data more effectively to drive value for the business and for the consumers? So in the pre-buying journey, where we have a platform where customer can come, apply for a loan and select a bike, and then apply for a loan, and it's a digital platform. So out of 100,000 users that come on our platform, a certain percentage of user would complete the whole journey, but a good amount of customers would drop in between at different places, right? So now we have to convert those to make sure that we are able to serve the customers. For that, we have a team who is sitting, who can reach out to customers, but they don't know which customer to reach, when, how, and they are just shooting in the dark, calling the customers and getting in touch with them. So we have built a lead prioritization system where we are able to say, okay, this lead should be called now. This lead should not be called, but just send a WhatsApp message. And this lead has very low chances of conversion and can be dropped. And this is all basis the past interactions that the customer has done with our platform, whether he was doing the application digitally, how many times did he change a particular field, how many times, how much time did it took to complete the applications, how many calls have we made to him, and how many calls have we responded, and many other parameters help us identify that. Now, in the second process, which is underwriting, which is the core of our business model, because if that goes bad, the whole business model goes bad, right? So, and we also want to make sure that our NPA levels are in control, but at the same time, we are able to serve the customers to the maximum. And so what we have developed there is we have built a model which gives a risk category to the customer, that which risk category does that customer fall in, and then we price our product accordingly for the customer. For example, a very good customer who is having a good CIBIL score, and my model says that, okay, this customer has very low chances of default, I would charge him a lower rate, 4-5% lower rate as compared to others. And in this manner, I'm able to get good customers, because if I charge higher, then only desperate customers would come to me. But with this differentiated pricing model, we are able to get good customers. At the same time, we are able to sell a little risky customers, but we are charging them higher, so our NPA levels are in control, because if I charge them higher, I can afford a couple of percentage extra NPA. And then coming to the third point, which is the post-sale journey of the customer, where we want to serve him, where we are building a model which can track the driving behavior of the user through the smartphone sensors that he would have in his phone, right? So we have collected more than 2,000-3,000 kilometers data, which is driven by our riders, and we have marked it how the user is driving, whether he is going on a bumpy road, whether he's driving at a high speed through a pothole, whether he's driving at a high speed through a bump, whether he's rash driving or hard braking, rash acceleration. All those events are being tracked, and the model is being developed, which predicts that how is the user driving, and which I can in turn use it to predict the value of the vehicle during the period. For example, if I committed 50,000 to a user, that at the end of 2 years, I would take this vehicle at 50,000 rupees. And during the tenure, I know that he is driving very good, and I can even fetch 55,000. I can even encourage him to drive even better and can give a 5,000 rupees bonus in the end, which makes the customer stickiness with the platform, and opens a lot of cross-sell opportunities where I can sell him insurance, warranty products, and other things, because I know the driving behavior of the user. So yeah, these are the major places where, these are few of the examples where we are using data to drive the value for the business and for the consumers.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thank you, panel, for providing insights into data on how your enterprises are leveraging it. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.